Hello and welcome to the AJP Tour Podcast. I'm your host, Will Safford, and I'm excited to bring you this new show dedicated entirely to the Abu Dhabi Jiu-Jitsu Pro Tour. We'll be covering the latest news and updates, events, results, rankings, and much more, including interviews with some of the top names in the sport, athletes, coaches, competitors, referees, and top figures involved with the AJP Tour. Later on in this episode, we'll actually be speaking with former lightweight King of Mats champion Isaac Doederlein. But before we get into that, we've got a lot to talk about. It's been a while since we were on the mats. The global pandemic has basically paused the jiu-jitsu world for a few months, but we've got some great news. The World Pro is back. The Abu Dhabi World Jiu-Jitsu Classic, better known as the World Pro, which was scheduled for April in 2020. It was postponed due to the pandemic, has been rescheduled for November 18th through the 21st. We are thrilled about this. This is essentially the pinnacle of jiu-jitsu events. It is one of the most prestigious events in the world. It really caps off our entire season. And if you are crowned the World Pro Champion, essentially you are one of the best in the sport. So really excited to announce that we have postponed it, but it's back. November 18th through the 21st, you can sign up at ajptour.com, get all the details. We've put together a series of protocols and guidelines that we're going to use at this event and all of our upcoming events to keep everybody safe on site, from competitors, coaches, staff, referees. We've done our due diligence and we've put together an entire series of protocols, procedures in our safety guidelines. You can go on to ajptour.com, download the handbook, take a look. Especially if you're going to compete, you should be aware of all the things that are expected of you and are expected of everyone around you to keep everybody safe at these events. So really excited. The World Pro is back. Sign up now, ajptour.com. You can register right now. It's available. The early deadline is October 8th, and the final deadline is November 8th. So make sure you guys check that out. Moving on to the upcoming Miami AJP Tour Grand Slam. This is the American leg of the Grand Slam and is essentially kicking off the 2020-2021 season for the AJP Tour. So again, we had to postpone some things due to the pandemic, but we are excited to announce our first event to kick off the season. The Miami Grand Slam is scheduled for September 27th down at the Miami Airport Convention Center. This registration is still open. The deadline is September 12th. So make sure you guys go to ajptour.com, get all the details. We're going to be using all of those same guidelines in our safety handbook to make sure that we keep everybody on site safe, all the competitors, all the coaches. We've got different procedures in place for different areas within the arena. So from when you weigh in, when you check in, from the warm-up area to the competition area, the podium, we've got different procedures for everybody. So educate yourself, understand what is expected of you and how you can keep yourself and everyone around you safe in the upcoming competitions we have on the AJP Tour. So moving on, let's also talk about some of the current competitors signed up for the Grand Slam in Miami. This is the who's who of jiu-jitsu. We've got people like Gabriel Souza, Yago George, Diego Ramalho, Marcio Andrade, Gabby Pisana, Tamara Silva, Elizabeth Clay, Jessica Khan, Jonathan Alves, Francisco Andrade, Michael Liera Jr. A lot of high-level competitors are currently signed up and ready to compete. It's been a while since they were on the mat. We can't wait to get back. So really excited to have all of those high-level athletes already signed up. Make sure you guys check out the information. Now understand this is only for purple, brown, and black belts. And that brings us to the next point, which is the rankings. So we have had some changes in our rankings. First, let's talk about our original Abu Dhabi AJP Pro Tour rankings. So these rankings are essentially a year-long ranking that is based on your performance just on your belt level. So how you perform throughout the season, you get points based on how you do, but all of the weight classes are combined into one belt level ranking. The 2019-2020 AJP Tour ranking has essentially been paused because that wraps up after the World Pro. So we haven't had the World Pro yet. It will wrap up after the World Pro, which is now scheduled for November. So currently, Gabriel Souza is in first place. He actually won it last year. But remember, this one is all of the weight classes combined and is a ranking for your belt level. Now, that one is on pause. We'll wrap up. You get a big prize at the end. We have also introduced a brand new ranking system. This is the 2020-2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Slam World Ranking. So this is going forward, looking ahead to the next year. This Grand Slam ranking is just for the Grand Slam events. We have 6 Grand Slam events: Tokyo, Russia, London, Abu Dhabi, and the US coming up here in Miami. So the ranking is just consists of athletes' performance in those events. Now, a couple things to note. This ranking is only available to purple, brown, and black because the Grand Slam events are only open to purple, brown, and black belts. The second thing to note, this ranking is based on weight class and belt level. So you have even more opportunity. There's going to be rankings within every single weight class. So you have more opportunity to win cash prizes and improve your ranking overall. Now, the final thing to realize is that in order to get into this ranking, you have to compete in the Grand Slam events. To compete in the Grand Slam events, you have to qualify through points, and you earn points by participating in the smaller regional events like the national, the continental, the intercontinental AJP events. So, a lot of information there. We're going to come out with a video on YouTube explaining all of the updates to the rankings. But 2 things to note. Essentially, the AJP Tour ranking from 2019 to 2020 season has essentially been paused. It will start again once the season resumes and will wrap up after the World Pro. The second thing is a different, separate Grand Slam ranking, which is only for the performance on the Grand Slam events. But again, purple, brown, and black, and you have to qualify now to get into the Grand Slam. So we are super excited. The ranking just gives more opportunity for people to earn money and improve their standing and just makes things more exciting overall. So a lot has happened. As you can see, we're excited. We can't wait to get back on the mats. But without further ado, let's get into today's episode with King of Mats lightweight champion Isaac Doederlein. All right, here we are with 2019 King of Mats lightweight champion Isaac Doederlein. Isaac, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, man. Just here in San Diego visiting my family for the weekend. Had a tough week of training, but, getting back into it and, excited to see what the future has in store.
Right on, man. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And speaking of training, it's been a crazy time. It's been a crazy year, as everyone knows. What has it been like training during a pandemic?
It's actually, for me, it's been a pretty positive experience. Since, especially at the beginning, we didn't really have as much access to like a class structure. So kind of me and a couple other friends, we just train every day for a couple hours, actually 3 to 4 hours a day. And, we would just kind of, focus on whatever we wanted to work on and did a lot of specific training. We filmed a lot of our training, so that was cool that we could kind of go back and study our own footage and come back the next day and try to figure out new variations and things like that. So for me, it's been a super positive experience, man. I feel like I improved a lot, and I'm excited to see that the circuit's coming back in, and I'm just ready to go out there and just, try all the new stuff.
Yeah. When we were talking before, we were saying how a lot of times like these big breakthroughs happen when you have the ability to just get out and explore things. And I feel like a lot of these like closed door sessions during the pandemic has allowed people to explore different parts of the game. There's less structure to these things happening, right? Any big breakthroughs happen for you during this time?
Definitely. Just overall, working a lot of different positions. I think for me, I've always been kind of like a loose passer, like toreandos and moving side to side, things like that. So I took this time to kind of really focus on my guard, obviously, and then the other one is pressure passing. So I actually, when I was out here visiting San Diego and seeing my parents, I took a private with Gustavo Batista Berguinha, and I got to learn some of his pressure passing, and then went back and kind of work on that, and also kind of explore and try to figure out my own things. So it's been good, man. It's been really good. I think during these times is when you can improve the most, because if when there's a competition in sight, obviously you always want to like focus on fixing your game and getting better, but there's like, you have like kind of a quota. You're just like, man, I gotta go hard today. I gotta train with this guy. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And you're thinking more of like competition training. But when you're training and there's not really like an end goal in sight in terms of competition, it makes you become more creative, because you're like, oh, like I don't want to I have nothing to focus on now. So what am I going to focus on? You get these two kinds of people. You get the ones that are only focused on competition and motivated by competition. So then this time they may get like more depressed or sad and feel like kind of like they're not really working towards anything. But then you get another type of person who's just loves jiu-jitsu and loves to be good at jiu-jitsu and explore. So during this time for me, it was a time to just get better, not knowing. Obviously it sucked, like not knowing that there was going to be a competition coming and things like that. So, but I was still just like, for me, my motivation was like showing up the next day and trying this new move and like focusing on the system or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it was good for me to expand. And now that I'm seeing competitions coming up, it's like, all right, now it's time to put the new stuff to test,
Yeah, totally, man. Kind of like the silver lining a bit. I know, especially in jiu-jitsu, like other sports have defined seasons, right? So it's like, all right, we're in season, and then you get sometimes 6 months off where you can kind of reflect and work on things. Jiu-jitsu is like gi-season, you maybe get like a month off. Most guys are out doing seminars, and then you're right into no gi season. It's just, you can compete all the time. So there's very little opportunity to kind of reflect and work on things. You just get ready for the next competition. So in a way, that must have been pretty useful for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, summer of 2018, I ended up injuring my knee, and I was out for 3-4 months, and it was pretty serious injury. I had like a grade 2 tear in my MCL. So it was like, I was limping. It was hard to walk and train. So that time is when actually I think that's when I was able to also explore my game. And that time was really valuable, because that's what gave me the breakthrough in 2019 when I started to kind of, start to compete, win these big tournaments, and, start taking out big names and just kind of, being able to perform in the spotlight, and a lot of that was because of my knee injury. Right. So I believe that times like these, if you have a positive mindset, like, you can only get better. Interesting, man, because,
you have been a black belt for a few years now, and you've been you're always right there. You're always on the podium. In early 2019 at the London Grand Slam, I think you took second place to Paulo Miao. Was it in the Grand Slam and the King of Mats?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're right there. And then you come back in Tokyo later in the year in August, and you win first place at the King of Mats in Tokyo. And then after that, you win Europeans and IBJJF in early 2020. So, like, was there something that switched, or is it just kind of like you seem to have really caught your stride lately?
It was kind of like the breakthrough for me was obviously like certain aspects of my game, like my passing. I was able to figure out new angles, where to emphasize weight, like where to be aggressive, how to be aggressive. But overall, I would say it was a concept that kind of like put everything together for me. And that was that, I would go through phases in my career where I've always been trying to learn and get better, but then I would kind of like identify myself and be like, oh, like now I'm going to be like, I'm a Plata guy, or now today, like I'm a Berimbolo guy or whatever. I'm a Spider Guard guy. And I would go through these phases where things would be working, and then I'd go into competition and I would kind of like tunnel vision, and then everything wouldn't work exactly how I wanted it to work. Right. So one concept that kind of clicked for me was to be aggressive, but try to achieve flow state and not choose, but just kind of take. So then what that did was that kind of made me more aggressive, and I would just start to make my grips. And then from there I'd say, okay, I know jiu-jitsu. Now let's just like accept everything that comes my way and just go for it. As opposed to like everything that I'm doing is trying to like force a De La Hiva or get a matrix or whatever. Like I'm not forcing that. It's like, if it comes to me, I take it. But if not, like I'm willing to scissor sweep you. I'm willing to collar drag you. I'm willing to omoplata you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what it is that I do. I'm just going to take it as it comes and just go for it. Like, try to be aggressive. So that like that I had a name for that. What did I call it? I called it technical aggression. So that kind of concept for me helped me. It clicked and put everything together. So it's not like, you can't just tell it to like a white belt and say, just be aggressive or be technical. Obviously, like it took a lot of years of me, like being a specialist in certain areas. Right. And then eventually it kind of like, instead of a specialist, I kind of put everything together, and then I became like, I guess you'd say like a master or whatever. You know what I mean? So this like me taking all these, or like, what do you call it? It's like, it's that show, The Last Airbender. You know, you have like there's 4 different elements, but then like the Avatar, he has all the elements. So I feel like that was kind of a moment to me where I have had each element at one point, but for the first time in my career, I was able to like just put them all together and just say like it's go time. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's like you've reached, like you said, you've reached mastery. You've reached the black belt level, because, we always want to rely on our A game, right? You always want to go out there and you have this plan in your mind, and then things get messed up and your plan is completely knocked off its course, right? So the ability to say, all right, I have the skills, I'm confident, I can work from any position, that just comes with experience, right?
Yeah, that's not something you can just like teach, you know what I mean? It's like it took a long time for me to get to that point,
Yeah, I was just watching a bunch of your matches. Specifically, well, first thing, you have a lot of submissions on the AJP Tour. Like, I think in both King of Mats, you had like 3 or 4 submissions total. But I was watching your game, and you're versatile from everywhere. Like, you've got obviously great sweeps, but getting back to your passing, like your passing is really, really good. And one thing I'm noticing in the lightweight division, you just spoke about it, is this kind of people are starting to incorporate the pressure passing in the lightweight divisions, where formerly it was like more of like, all right, double guard playing, let's not come up for the pass. Maybe if we're going to pass, we're going to do some loose outside type thing. So that's it sounds like you're still kind of evolving, even as you are kind of have reached mastery in a sense. What was your lesson with Gustavo Batista? Because he's a King of Match champion as well. And I've actually rolled with him before, and that guy is like rolling with a tree trunk. Like you can't move him when he's like, he just closes in on you. So what was that like with a lesson you had with him?
It was good. We mainly focused on knee slicing.
Okay.
And like control, getting controlling the head and knee slicing. And like, I at the beginning of quarantine, I was studying a lot of his matches, and I noticed, this guy's doing something different from the knee slice. He gets the long step grips, and I was just noticing that he had a very like, not because he's heavy, but he was doing he had a very technical approach. And then like the moment he got someone there, like he'd crush you, you know what I mean? And so I tried to emulate it in training, and I kind of had some success, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. So I was just like, you know what? He trains close to my parents' house. So I'm just gonna hit him up and, do it private. And so I got to like see and feel like the different angles that he was approaching at, where he put his weight, how he drop his knee, isolate his foot, just little things like that. And it was just like, it was game changing. Like instantly I was able to apply it into my game. And obviously at first, like it took a little bit of time, because, when you first learn something, you kind of tunnel vision, you just want to you get excited about the technique and you just want to do it all the time.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of like, but then and then eventually you kind of mature, and you go back to the point where it's like, okay, I'm just going to take it if it's there. So now whenever it's there and I have the opportunity, I feel like I don't lose it anymore, So that was a really good lesson.
Gotcha. So, you have kind of would you consider yourself like a guard player?
Yeah. I used to be like, well, what defines a guard player? Someone who only plays guard or someone who prefers to play guard?
Yeah, I would say prefers to play guard.
I prefer passing.
You prefer passing?
Yeah, strategically, you're going to see me pull because it's always good to start ahead. But like, I love passing way more than I like playing guard for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So
yeah,
in 2020, now that, jiu-jitsu events are coming back and looking forward, are we going to see more pressure passing out of you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You're going to see me move more, but I identify when the right time is to like pit stop and put the pressure. Cause I don't consider myself as like a pressure passer in terms of like, I don't just go through your guard and say, oh, I'm going to crush you now. No, I move, I make you overcommit your shields. And then when you've overcommitted a shield and I see the opportunity, I pull myself in and then I pressure pass. Then I make you like feel the weight. The weight that I have, the pressure, not much weight.
Awesome, man. So now let's talk about AJP competition. Is there anything you really like about competing under the AJP rule set?
I like the short time. I feel like for a spectator standpoint, it makes it way more entertaining because it's just going to be a faster pace, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to notice that maybe in a 10-minute match or no time limit match, people are taking their time and it's a little more of like a slow chess match, but in 6 minutes, a lot of the time it's the person who scores first is going to win. So you're going to see guys go for it from the get-go. And on top of that, with the new point system where you can get points from advantages, that's really good as well because it makes me, even if I'm losing the match and let's say the guy was up 2-0, he's on bottom, I'm on top, or 2-1. I know all I got to do is like, I don't even have to pass his guard. I have to almost pass his guard. So then you're going to see me take bigger risks, move more. And it's just going to be more exciting, I think, for the spectators and even go for submissions, maybe a footlocker, whatever, you know what I mean? And a lot of matches in the IBJJF end up where it's like the person that lost had more advantages. They had like all these submission attempts or they had all these guard pass attempts, but they couldn't quite finish it. And in the AJP rules, it's like that person would have won. You know what I mean? The person that pushed the face more and got more like and attacked more. You know what I mean? So I think it's good that we're rewarding people for that, and it's making it less of like a stalling game.
I mean, that's jiu-jitsu, right? We go out there. The goal is to submit the other guy, right? That's really like the essence of jiu-jitsu is to submit.
Yeah.
So speaking of, let's talk about your 2019 King of Mats performance in Tokyo. It was hard to see because it was at the end of the match with Diego Pato. Did he tap to the armbar at the end?
No, he didn't tap. No, if he did, I didn't realize it. But no, I think with him, I got the armbar and then I broke the grip. And then I was like extending and then I'm pretty sure time ran out. I think that's what happened. Or it broke and he gripped. But I do remember if it was like 10 more seconds, I'm pretty sure I would have finished the armbar.
Man, that was a spectacular match because he was actually winning until like the last, it was like a minute or so. And then you took his back, right? And then to the armbar. What was that like going through your mind, knowing that you were just like a few seconds, maybe a minute left and you had to work to win?
Yeah. That was crazy because he was tying me up in the worm guard pretty well. Yeah. And worm guard is kind of one of those positions where if once you're locked in, it's like really hard to get out. So the only way to not get your back taken or get submitted is you have to give the sweep. So I remember he locked me up in the worm guard. I had to give the 2, and then there was 1 minute left, and then I was in my guard, and I was like, all right, let's do this. And what did I try? I don't know if I tried to collar jack him or what, but he was doing a good job of just kind of like keeping his legs away, but then I was able to suck him almost into like a closed guard and then get that like Hodja Gracie sweep where you go 2-on-1, and then I just kind of went for the back. And I think I was trying to get sit-up guard, but he didn't want to give me the 2. He didn't want to give me the single leg, so then I just came up on his back, and then I tried to take him down, and I got the hooks. And I remember I was like, I got the 2 points, so then I was winning by an advantage, and I was thinking like, oh, I could get the 4 and win like 6-2. But I was like, no, I got to get the finish. So I just bailed on the back and went for the arm. But yeah, that was a crazy match. That all happened in last minute, you know.
Yeah.
But you just have to keep fighting at the end of the day. When you stop fighting is when things get bad for you, you know.
That's right, man. Diego Pato, he was like the up and coming brand new black belt. He was kind of the guy. So to take him out in the set, that was the semifinal, right?
That was one of the qualifying rounds. I think that was actually the second match. Yeah.
Okay.
The semis I fought. Who did I fight in the semis? Gabriel Souza in the final semis. I don't remember.
Let's talk about the Gabriel Souza match, because Gabriel is always right there. He was the leader last year. He's currently in first place for the ranking points this year. And he just, that guy is nonstop, man. He's really, really fast, really explosive. What was that match like?
That one was good. That was the second time that we fought. I fought him in the first edition of the King of Mats, months, like 6 months prior or something like that. And that was cool, man. I like Gabriel. He's a good dude, and super aggressive. And yeah, the match was, super high pace. I think in the very beginning, I think I pulled guard, and immediately he tried to pass, and I caught him with a collar drag, single leg, and then I ended up in his close guard. He did good too. He did this. I think, what do you call it when you have the close guard and the guy stands up, you underhook the leg? It's the waiter sweep.
Yes. Yep.
They call it the way he tried to waiter sweep me to the mount. And then I was able to
right.
Yeah, he got me over. No, he got I think he got an advantage for it. And I was able to kind of push away. And then I like to go for the footlock a lot. And as soon as I felt his legs break free, I saw the footlock there, and I was like, I smelled the blood, and I was like, all right. I snatched it, and I was able to finish the footlock. That was nice.
Man, that was a nasty footlock. He actually yelped really loud.
Yeah, that was crazy. He yelled so loud that I heard it echo. And at first, when he was yelling, I didn't even think it was him. I thought it was someone in the crowd. It was crazy. It was that was a crazy.
Is that one of your favorite techniques, the footlock? Are you known for that?
Nowadays, yeah, I've been getting it more. I think, I learned it from Mikey, actually. He taught it to me in 2018, right before the Worlds 2018. And since then, I finished it a bunch of times. Europeans, actually, I think I had 4 or 5 matches. 2 of my matches were footlocks. Wow. But it's not something I go for. It's not something I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I'm going to footlock the guy. It's just a move where if I see it, I go for it. But it's not premeditated. You know what I mean?
Well, the footlock is kind of interesting because it seems like in the lower divisions, the lighter divisions, guys just don't tap to footlocks. So to get Gabriel Souza to tap in the final was certainly impressive. Well, let's talk about the lightweight division a little bit more. Guys like we just said, Diego Pato, Gabriel Souza, the Miao brothers. You've got Lito Saggioro, some of the guys you're competing against. Man, that division is just completely stacked from top to bottom as far as technical, fast, strong guys. Lito said, really, really strong. So what's it like competing in the lightweight division?
I like it, man. It's just it's a faster pace, but you have to be the guys are so technical though that you have to be ready to get slowed down, you know what I mean? Because the people playing a lot spider, open guard, lasso, things like that. So you have to be really technical if you want to actually move on these guys, because everyone's guard is so good.
Yeah.
So you have to do a lot of studying. You have to prepare. You have to know how to do the grip bites and things like that, lassos, and it's good, man. It's you have to be prepared to deal with a lot before making things happen. So that motivates me to be as soon as I smell the blood, I'm not hesitating. I'm going for the pass. I'm going for the submission. So that it motivates me to be I got to go. You know what I mean? So they're definitely keeping you on your toes.
You cannot really, I don't think you can really make a mistake in any division at the black belt level, but I feel like the window of opportunity is so small in the lightweight division. You have to be so sharp. You can't make a single mistake. And it's happening. It seems like the match is happening so much faster in the lightweight divisions than some of these bigger heavyweight divisions that we see. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think that the the heavier the guys are, I feel like it's more of like, it's like a slow death. They're kind of working in on you. You get the grips and you're trying to pressure through it. You'll see some movement, but not as much, but you still see good movement. And it's kind of like you're eking towards the guy. But like in the lightweight divisions, you can see like something happen just like this. Like, nothing can be going on and you blink and then there's an arm bar, foot lock or whatever, or like a crazy flying submission. So I just think that, being smaller, more flexible, fast, like is going to give that element of like more the element of surprise,
Gotcha. So now let's look forward. The AJP Tour just announced that, we've got the Miami Grand Slam coming up. I know before we got on the call, you said that it was your daughter's birthday during this time. Is that right? Yeah,
my daughter's birthday's on during the Miami Grand Slam.
You've got some obligations there, but also they announced the 2020 World Pro, which was scheduled for April, has been rescheduled for late November. So any interest in competing again in Abu Dhabi?
Definitely. That's a great time, and especially with the Pan Ams being announced in October. So, I mean, just keep the momentum right there. I don't see why not. I would love to go to Abu Dhabi and fight, especially after thinking that everything was done for the year, for these events to pop up. It's makes things exciting, makes things really exciting. So I don't see why not.
Yeah, you can kind of put some of those things you've been working on into action. So that must feel good, especially because of the momentum that you were building at the end of 2019 and into 2020. Is there any place like that? The AJP Tour goes all over the world. Tokyo, I think I saw you compete in London. You were down in Rio, obviously Abu Dhabi, Moscow. Is there anywhere that you really like visiting and competing at?
I think my favorite was Tokyo. My favorite was Tokyo. Huh? It's the best, man. I'm half Japanese, so I have like family over there.
Cool.
And so I just love the culture. I love how the people are. I love the food. So for me, I was just like, being able to train. I trained at Carpe Diem the week before the King of the Mats, and the energy with those guys. So super technical, super respectful and chill. Yeah. And just being able to do that and go get coffee with them and then just go get some food at the 7-Eleven, because you know how they have all the all the food, all like those lunch boxes and like rice balls and stuff like that. I love that over at those stores, at those stores. So just being able to like go through the whole experience for me was just super fun. It was like when everything was over, I wanted to go back and just train and hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't get a chance to do that.
I've been to the Carpe Diem gym before. It's such an awesome experience. All those guys are so cool. The food is great. You're right. The whole atmosphere, it's just so different from what kind of we're used to here in the United States. So it's just a great experience. On that note, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's a new ranking system in place for 2020 or 2020-2021 season. So this season going forward, where it's a Grand Slam specific ranking. So what they're going to do is they're going to take your performance from all the Grand Slam events, and there's going to be prizes for first and second place in each weight division. So the other ranking that we have is just for the belt level, right? So you've got all the weight classes combined into a ranking with based on belt level. This one is going to be weight class, but just specific for the Grand Slam events. What do you think about that?
That's cool, man. That's that gives an opportunity for everybody to make some money. I think that's going to motivate a lot more people to compete as well. Do the points from the previous seasons carry over, or does it start over? Like, let's say, I'm guessing Miami is the very first event to start off the 2020 season, or what was the events prior, like the Abu Dhabi Grand Slam?
It's kind of weird because we're wrapping up the 2019-2020 season with the World Pro that's going to be in November, but the new season going forward for the Grand Slam rankings is going to start.
I see. So Miami doesn't count into that event.
Miami counts going forward. It doesn't count toward.
Oh, so it doesn't start at the World Pro then. It starts at Miami Grand Slam.
Exactly. Right.
I see. That's great. That's great. You guys are definitely going to see me at more of those events for that reason. That's great. Awesome. It's going to motivate a lot of the fighters. Yeah.
Well, man, this is awesome talking with you, catching up with you. Can't wait to see you back on the mats. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap up?
No, just, yeah, I mean, you guys are going to definitely see me more on the circuit. Once this whole COVID thing's over, it's game on.
COVID really kind of threw a wrench in everything, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think anybody, unless you're Jeff Bezos, I think that everyone has a wrench,
Yeah. 100%, man. Well, hey, Isaac, thanks again, man. This was awesome. And we can't wait to see you out there again.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Big thank you to King of Match champion Isaac Doederlein for chatting with us today. Awesome to hear from him and what he's been up to and what he's been working on. So excited to see him back on the competition mats in 2020. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We've got a lot in store for you coming up with events coming back. We're going to be catching up with athletes, coaches, refs, everyone involved with the AJP Tour. So keep an eye out on our YouTube channel. We're going to be dropping a lot of content there going forward. And as always, you can check us out at ajptour.com. Sign up for the Miami Grand Slam coming up on September 27th. The last day to register is September 12th. And then the Abu Dhabi World Jiu-Jitsu Classic, aka the World Pro, happening on November 18th through the 21st. So make sure that you check out ajptour.com, get all the details, and also check out our safety guidelines. We have done a ton of research. We've put together a list of procedures that we're going to be implementing to keep everyone at these tournaments safe. So make sure you guys download your copy and find out what's going on there. Again, thanks so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.